Hello everyone and welcome to the Reddit Railway. My name is Victor and I'll be your driver. Today's destination is r/entitled people, so all aboard! My Aunt Jackie is the middle sister, with my mum being the youngest of three. My oldest aunt on my mum's side is Maria, since she is a saint to put up with Jackie. Maria was always the caring nurse eldest sister, who took care of everyone. My mum was the youngest, who loved cheerleading and being the boss lady of a corporation, before giving it up to be a stay-at-home mum for me and my sister. Aunt Jackie, on the other hand, she was the pretty, smart and petty sister that always got all the boys in high school, but afterwards spiraled. She never tried hard, she didn't graduate from college until she got a social work degree at a community college. I pity the poor kids that had her as their overseer with how she just treated people in general. Her mental health took a nosedive as her looks apparently got worse after high school from her perspective. She got plenty of attention, but every positive relationship she had, she destroyed. As a kid, I knew there was something up with her since she always seemed negative or had something pitiful to say. She would snap at everyone and cry about how her life should have been better. She would also tell me from 7 to 11 to give her my Christmas money before my Nana and Pop, my mum's parents, finally shut her down. She was living with my Nana and Pop from when she was 26 into her 50s before they finally had enough. She's always been a moocher and plays the victim in every situation, even if the story she's telling was never hers to begin with. While I don't have ill will towards her and understand her frustrations with her life, her decisions and attitude are what cement her leech-like image in my brain. During the global crisis, I've been staying at home with my parents in our house. This 4-bedroom house has been with us since before I was born, almost 30 years ago, in a neighborhood that grew up around it. Years later, the neighborhood would become an impressively expansive area with mansions and golf courses as far as the eye can see. My parents have finally, as of this summer, paid off the mortgage of this impressive and amazing house, and I love living here with them. I pay them rent and water bills, as well as food. I have a great room and I'm not too far away from my office and the store. Plus, I get to cook for my mum and dad for their opinions on my recipes. Win-win. My Aunt Jackie has her own 2-bedroom house and has for a couple of years now. Problem is, she doesn't take care of it herself. My mum has gone over more than once to clean out the house for my aunt because she is physically disabled. Aunt Jackie only screams at mum about what to do like she's her slave, but refuses to help or praise her. I've wanted to go with mum to act like a buffer, but she refuses, saying I'll just end up getting guilted and tricked. I've been pretty firm as of late, but I have been known to forgive things more readily than others would allow. So during the crisis, we haven't seen her but have had phone conversations. Well, last weekend, my Aunt Jackie called my mum to check in. Hi, haven't talked to you in a while. How are you? Good. Everyone's been doing as well as can be during this time. That's nice. Now that vaccines are rolling out, it's going to be nice to see everyone again. Yeah, we usually keep to ourselves, so we've been good so far with distancing. What are you looking forward to once everything goes back to normal? Well, I can't wait to come visit. My house has gotten so cluttered lately. I'm thinking of getting a bigger house for all my stuff. Really? Why don't you just get rid of some of the stuff you don't use instead? Selling houses are tough right now. Actually, I was hoping you would just let me have your house. I have so much more stuff and your house is so much nicer and cleaner than mine. Jackie, I already told you no. This is my house and my husband's house. Eventually, it will be OP and her sister's house. I have no intention of selling it. Oh no, I don't want to buy your house. Just switch with me. You and your husband can have my house and OP can live with me over there. Number 1, what makes you think I'll let you have my house? And number 2, why would OP be staying with you in my house? Well, you've had her long enough, don't you think? She makes all these amazing meals for you and helps out around the house. I figure she can just keep it up, but for me. But she'll have to pay for the internet, electricity, water, etc. I mean, she has a job and I only have my little old pension. And with your husband still working, he can pay off the mortgage from my house. Jackie continued with her delusional rant for a few minutes, with my mum looking at the receiver like it spewed fire at her. Finally, after a few minutes, mum got angry enough to cut her off. You are not setting foot in my house, and you sure as hell are not going to use my daughter as slave labor. You are out of your goddamn mind. Good night, Jackie, and then hung up. My mum then had to pop open a bottle of red wine and told my dad and I everything. While mum was on the phone, dad and I were eavesdropping from the other room, praying Mum wouldn't let her come. We were so relieved Mum put her foot down. It turns out Jackie called Maria to complain about what Mum said to her, spinning a sob story about how cruel she was for not giving her house and how she was going to be alone until she could rent an RV to go live with Aunt Maria. Suffice to say, Aunt Maria shut down that idea and told her to stop trying to force herself on other people at almost 67 years of age. Jeez Louise, Jackie sounds like a real nutbag. I've heard of delusional, but crikey, how deranged do you have to be to think someone would go along with such an insane idea? I just answered my own question. Cut off this toxic lunatic. I know a lost cause when I hear one. If you need further proof of this, listen to the update that follows this story. Crazy Jackie just called my mum a few minutes ago. It's not even 8 a.m. here. She was sad about their conversation last weekend. She was sorry about asking for their house. Instead, she is willing to settle for my room and I can take her house. Her reasoning? OP is thinking about getting her own place anyway. I could just transfer the mortgage to her. It will be sad not to have her stay, but she needs to leave the nest sometime, right? Mum was simmering, hasn't even had her coffee yet, and said, no, she's welcome to stay here until she saves enough for her own place. It will be her decision, not yours. Mum put her on speaker and walked to my doorway as I'm working from home and my room is right next to hers. But she's old enough. She shouldn't be living with her parents at her age. She should just get a boyfriend and move out on her own. Mum looks right at me with her mouth hanging open. Well, husband and I love having her here. She can get a boyfriend and move out whenever she feels comfortable, but that will not be dictated by you. Also, if she leaves, who's going to pay the water bill and groceries or make my favorite pizza? You? No! Why would I be cooking when I'd be the guest? Well, OP pulls her weight around the house, is my tenant in the meantime, and saving for her first house. So I don't see why we should be bringing you in. After that, Mum starts walking back to the kitchen, and I get back to work. I didn't hear the rest, but my mum is half asleep, just brushing her off. That is until Jackie had the nerve to ask for us to renovate the garage to make her a room, since my living there probably saves them so much money they would be able to afford it. Mum just screamed, "You have a house, now live in it." I burst out laughing and have been sitting here trying to type it word for word. Thank God for long Zoom meetings and not having to have our cameras on. And there you have it, people. Deranged, delusional, and hypocritical. Jackie, if OP is old enough to leave the nest, how come you didn't when you were her age? Struth. It's hard to believe people like this exist, and it's a shame they do. They always take down those around them. So like I said before, cut off this ratbag. You and your family will be better off for it. Anyway, we've come to the end of our journey. Thank you for traveling on the Reddit Railway, and we hope to see you again soon.